Watch the Game podcast. Welcome. It's your man L.A. Cheatham.
It's Benjamin Banneker. What's going on, people? What's up? What's up? What's going
Well,
on?
it's another gossip edition. Not much going on tonight.
All-Star break.
Coming off the All-Star break, some interesting things that happened after the trade deadline. Couple guys were bought out in the NBA and found some new teams. Your Miami Heat picked up Kevin Love. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah.
We get into it. Check it out though. Right now, I want to take some time out to send a shout out to a few people that's been checking us out. And when I go out and about, they have a opportunity to tell me what they think about the show. And I like to thank those people for, watching us tonight. And I want to do it early. So if they get a chance to see the playback, they don't have to wait long and, to hear their names and stuff like that. I want to get back to doing some stuff like that so we can kind of continue to build this thing and do the work. So my man, East Chicago, Indiana, man, New Edition, the neighborhood of New Edition. My main man, Dwayne Span. I ran into my man at a couple high school basketball games. And he kind of let me know how he feel about the pod. He wasn't too happy with some of my comments about Tom Brady in the past, but on a couple shows back. But I told him, everybody got to have an opinion, man. I got an angle just like everybody else, and I just don't think Tom Brady is the best football player to ever play the game. He's most definitely the best quarterback, not the best football player. That's all I'm saying. Dwayne Span, shout out to you. I like to
You don't think Deion Sanders is?
Well, he didn't say. He hell of a guy, man. When you run into Dwayne at a high school basketball game, the conversation can get fired up. He can have some, real good intellectual conversations. We can talk about politics. We can talk about sports. But when it comes down to that, he never really said who he thought was the best football. I mean, I guess he think Tom Brady the GOAT, but we didn't get on Deion Sanders, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
He didn't disagree with it, but I guess he thinks that, Tom Brady is the GOAT. I just watch all 11 guys on the field. I watch the game. So I see more than just the quarterback. Somebody got to throw the damn ball, okay? That's just how I see it. And then I want to extend a happy birthday out to his homeboy, my homeboy, EC Lee Buck, and his son, Demero Buck. We went out and had a little get together celebration for him over the weekend. And I'd like to wish Lee Buck a happy birthday. And that's, a couple people I want to shout out before we got going so that now when I see them, they can say, man, what up, man? Thanks for shouting us out on the show. Later on down the line, I want to get better at following up with these people on Facebook as well. So if you're listening to us on Facebook, we appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube because the bigger we get, the more I want to lean towards the YouTube channel and building that, because right now we just doing the work right now, but when the work starts showing some results, we gonna have to maybe have to change some things, change a few things if the checks start rolling in. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Sponsorship dollars,
Yeah, man. So just a few people I wanted to touch on, man. But NBA All-Star Weekend, we coming off NBA All-Star Weekend, and the NBA coming off the Super Bowl. Exactly a week later, the NBA go right into the All-Star Weekend, kind of keep that same energy, and go into the All-Star Weekend. And I think my personal highlights for the All-Star Weekend was DK Metcalf.
Okay.
Mac Mac McClung. Some say he saved the dunk contest.
He did not.
I'm
No,
not gonna go that far.
he didn't.
But I'm gonna let you chop up on this a little bit. What's happening?
Matt McClung highlighted. They saying he saved the dunk contest. He highlighted what's wrong with the dunk contest, and on the group text with Sean Cutter, Dev, I pointed out, said this is a clear indictment of one LeBron Raymond James II, because him not doing the dunk contest when he was a younger player made it okay for big name stars to not participate in it. And that's why it's been so lackluster. That's why we've had a few here and there, Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon, and Derrick Jones Jr., but they was just doing great dunks. They didn't have the name and the cachet behind them. Just imagine if we had Ja Morant and Zion. I see Zion Williamson doing more dunks in commercials than on games. Like, that's ridiculous. So imagine if they was in the dunk contest. Do you think Mac McClung can outdunk them? I don't think so. He don't have the name to compete with those guys, which brings down the overall excitement of the night. It's just Mac McClung went up against a lot of non-threats in the dunk contest, and when it was announced, he wasn't even on the NBA roster then. He was a G Leaguer. When it was announced that he was going to be in it, I'm familiar with him because, we watched the game. We know him from Georgetown and Texas Tech, and, he played with the Lakers, and the one game he played with the Bulls. I'm familiar with him. But I was like, the NBA trying to sell us something again. They going to make sure this dude wins so they can have some fodder to talk about. And sure enough, what happened?
Well, Mac McClung is about what, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", something like that.
I don't even think he that tall. He might be a strong 6'1".
That's what's so impressive about the dunks he's done, the dunks he did, no matter who he was going up against. I feel you on the Zion Williamson. If he had participated in the dunk contest, maybe he would have challenged and won this thing. But the problem with Zion Williamson being in the dunk contest is just, hell, he don't even play enough basketball games for us to even excuse him to be on the dunk contest. Because I think if he went out and performed in the dunk contest, I think the critics would be more like, well, damn, what you been saving yourself all season for the dunk contest? You know what I'm saying? So, not to rule. I believe you may be on to some with the superstars, the big time name superstars, not participating in the dunk contest, and maybe later on in the future you may see a Zion Williamson. And I forget the other guy that you mentioned, but you had a good point, Ja Morant.
And
now,
I know that because Stephen A. came on First Take and echoed exactly what I said with Brian Windhorst, who's one of LeBron James's, key media guys. He went directly at him. He said, "This is directly LeBron James' fault." Because and now at this point, he can't do it because it's all downside if he don't win. That's a hit on his brand. Then you got other guys feeling the same way, and they ain't even got no brand to begin with, and they don't even take it serious.
And LeBron, he in the same boat with Zion right now. I mean, he don't play enough games, in my opinion. He sits out, and I think it'll be critical for him too. Not as much as Zion, but with LeBron James load managing, and I can understand it at his age right now. I don't think it'll be a good look for him to load manage as much as he does and then participate in the dunk contest.
No, them days well over for him. He in year 20. Them days he's an ambassador for the game, so he's above doing that now. But I'm saying, like, at least the first 5 years of his career, he should have done it. And if you want to stretch it out, the first 8 years of his career, he should have been in it once to encourage other guys to, man, LeBron was in it. I'm going to go ahead and get in it. And I was listening to Vince Carter talk this week, he said Vince said, "Man, look, I practiced for it. I wanted to win it. I came out. I was on business." And like he said, a lot of guys they just come out there and like they have no real thought process or methodology around what they gonna do in it. They just come out there and kind of do some stuff and hope for the best. Let me get the crowd involved off a basic dunk.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the athleticism just takes over in a lot of those dunks, especially when you're talking about you may not even practice a few dunks. Some of the dunks, maybe one or two, maybe a handful of the dunks, they probably do have, have that opportunity to practice. But when you talk about LeBron, let's just say, if LeBron was to participate in the dunk contest at age 38 and win, and I'm not just talking about they giving it to him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about if he was actually go out and win it, it would be really impressive. Just because of his age right now. But I don't think he can load manage and do it. He got to, kind of, play games, get the fans what they want throughout the regular season, and kind of build his way up to the dunk contest. Like you said, though, them days over with. But I do think it would be impressive if he was to win a dunk contest at his age. He'd be most definitely the oldest player to win a dunk,
Yeah, but
the dunk contest. And he's a freak. I mean, as you know how I feel about LeBron. You know how I feel about his place in basketball history. But he most definitely is taking good care of himself, and to be 38 years old and in that kind of shape, man. Hey, it would be impressive to see him win a dunk contest at this point, but you can say that's out the window. Um, how you feel about your boy? Well, matter of fact, let's go back to All Star Weekend.
mm,
I'm not gonna jump off too far ahead. Dame Lillard wins the 3-point shootout.
which was
Uh,
probably my most enjoyable event to watch of the weekend.
yeah,
Yeah,
Utah Jazz, they won the
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 skills.
skills, the team skills competition. A little bit of a homer thing there.
Yeah,
And
they keep tinkering and changing the format of the skills position, trying to get it exactly how they want it. So I can't offer up an opinion if I like it or I dislike it because it changes every year. You know what I mean? Like I remember when D Wade and them won it, it was just a one-on-one. It was a every man for himself type thing. Now it's a team type thing. And I like showing off the different type of passes. They got to hit the bounce pass and all that kind of stuff. But just as far as the format and the pacing of it, jury's still out for me on that.
yeah. And then did we speak on DK Metcalf in the
I, I didn't
in the
I didn't see
celebrity
none of,
game?
yeah, I didn't see none of that.
He had quite a few dunks in this game. Richard Jefferson stood out in this game as well because Richard Jefferson carried, I believe, he did three different things in this game. He he
Commentate.
he commentated the game,
Uh-huh.
he refereed the game, and
Uh-huh.
then he played in the game.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, the first 2 days of All Star Weekend, always the most interesting days for me. I want to bring light to the HBCU game that was played. Grambling beat Southern in the HBCU game. And I want to send a shout out to my homeboy, Sean Woods, the head basketball coach at Southern University. And they ended up losing that game. I think it was 69-64 in overtime. So that was uh, a pretty competitive game, probably the most competitive game of the whole weekend. But the celebrity game was action packed as well. Uh, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if they had the 4-point play. They had like a ruffles line beyond the 3-point line, and at the end of that game, I think I know D Wade was coaching the team, and I forget who else was coaching the other team. But Uh, I think Team Wade lost at the buzzer off a 4-point shot,
Okay.
and they lose by one. And the shot was put up at the buzzer from like half court, and it counted. I want to say they counted it for 4 points. I don't know. I wasn't specific. I didn't understand all the rules. I was kind of. I had to watch this game on DVR because I had a high school game of myself.
It was on tape
Uh,
delay.
yeah, man, I had to watch that game early Saturday morning, I believe. I want to send a shout out. I'm gonna send some more shouts out to one of my high school players in East Chicago, Indiana, East Chicago Central Cardinals, Christopher Stribling. He was able to hit a game-winning shot against one of our rival, Bishop Hammond Bishop No Warriors, and he made Sports Center on Instagram. He hit the shot to win the game at the buzzer. My boys were down 42-26 at the end of the first half. Send a shout out to my man Caleb Parks, Bishop No Warriors. He played for me in middle school. He had a hell of a first half. And you know, they went in, the Warriors went in 42-26 up on me and my Cardinals. Shout out to my man Coach Ala Moray and Coach Randy Morris, Coach B1, Brian Grant, and my man Coach Justin Orange. Them my boys over at the EC Central boys basketball team, athletic director, Coach Graylin Gordon. So, but it was an action-packed game. My man Chris, we came back. Like I said, the halftime score was 42-26. Chris hit a shot at the buzzer. Christopher Stripling hit a shot at the buzzer. We win the game 71-68. No time left. Crowd goes crazy. It was a road game, by the way. I think about maybe even not even a mile separates these two schools. You know what I'm saying? So, big rivalry game. Send my shout out to those guys. Hell of a performance. We getting ready for tournament play. Uh, we getting ready. Talk more about the NBA. The trade deadline was very interesting. Uh, but then some buyouts happened
Right.
shortly before All Star Weekend, and then right after All Star Weekend. Kevin Love, how you feel about Kevin Love going to your Miami
Yeah. Yeah.
Heat?
I think it's just time to blow that team up. Pat didn't get KD. And when KD rumored to be traded this summer, he couldn't work nothing out. Then KD was back on the block again. I don't know what the package was that they offered for KD, but I will say if Phoenix was able to keep Booker, Ayton, Chris Paul, and add KD, it's no reason why Miami couldn't have kept Bam, Tyler Hero, and Jimmy Butler and added KD. There's no reason why. Maybe the monies or the assets, whatever, didn't match up. So I've been disappointed with the Heat all season because they kind of, I think they're in the sixth spot right now, but it just seemed like their window is closed, and I don't think Pat Riley realized that the window is closed. They need to go get somebody they need another hooper on that team. They need a Bradley Beal. They needed a Kyrie would fit there.
I think Kyrie would have been the better move. I think
Yeah,
KD really wanted to, once they traded Kyrie from Brooklyn, I think KD really wanted to just go to Phoenix. I
yeah,
think Phoenix was probably really where he really wanted to be. I don't know if Miami was really in the running for that, but I do think Miami would have I think they may have had a better shot of getting Kyrie. But with that being said, the Brooklyn Brass made sure that they did not put Kyrie in a situation he really wanted to be in
Right.
because they were not going to send him to the Lakers.
Right.
And I think that they probably figured they definitely weren't going to send him to maybe an Eastern Conference team with the relationship being as it was and putting him in a position. So
He
they
could
put
burn.
him out. They
Yeah.
traded him to Dallas where he got to share the ball with Luka.
Yeah, right. Which was, I mean, I get it. They was over Kyrie's over his shenanigans. I get it. I totally get it. I think there's just a pit stop for him being in Dallas because I think he's going to eventually end up in LA next season. But yeah, but as far as the Heat adding Kevin Love, all right, so you picked him up. I don't think that's going to change their fortunes. That's not changing life in South Beach. Uh, Maybe they get to the second round. That's their ceiling though with this team.
What you think about Westbrook being bought up by Utah after being traded from the Lakers? He goes to Utah. He gets bought up by Utah.
Uh huh.
And for a little while, a few days or whatever, I guess he waited to after All Star break to kind of decide, or just around All Star break. But it was between a lot of people think it was between the Bulls and the Clippers, and he decided to go to the Clippers.
Which made the most sense.
Yeah, I think so too. And it also he stayed home from LA.
Didn't
He
have to
stayed
move,
home, didn't
relocate.
have to move,
Yeah.
just change the locker room. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Change the locker room, and also it showed a lot of mental toughness, and it puts more sting and more. It makes the LA Clipper, the LA Laker, LA Clipper. I don't know if they got any more games left on the schedule, but it makes that regular season, if they do, it makes that matchup more appealing. To go, when we get closer to the playoffs, that's one thing to look forward to. And then it also had maybe a trickle down effect on, like I said, I mentioned that he may have thought about being with the Bulls or the Clippers. So I think it had a trickle down effect, and maybe it'll allow Patrick Beverly to go home, and now he's a member of the Bulls. I like both moves myself for several different reasons. Can you touch on it?
Was the I'm not too much of a fan of Pat Bev going to the Bulls only because I think the Bulls kind of in the same situation as the Heat. Like the team not going nowhere, and they just ruled out Lonzo Ball for the rest of the year. He still got the knee injury, and we really know that's what the Bulls need to kind of get their thing back on track. Since he's not there, you adding a aging Pat Bev, like what does he do for the Bulls? I don't understand. Pat Bev needs to be on a contending team. I think he can still add value to that team with how hard he gonna play the defense. He's gonna be a disruptor. Basically being a 6'2" Dennis Rodman out there, just getting in people's head. He's not gonna score too many points. He might hit a big bucket here and there, come up with a big steal or something like that. I think that's better served on a contending team. But other than him being from the crib and wanting to play for, let me put the Bulls jersey on because I'm from the crib, I don't understand why he went there.
Well, I don't know if you watch a lot of Bulls basketball, but due to my relationship with the Taylor Made Boys, the cat top, during the football season, I text with those guys during Chicago Bear games. I kind of engage with them in watching Bulls games as well. And as hard as it is to watch the Bulls play basketball, I do have an understanding as to why they're in the situation they're in. And I do think I know how Patrick Beverly can help them finishing the season. Like you say, they are in like uh just a no man's land of playoff land because they gotta finish really strong to like just to get into the play-in situation. But we mentioned that Alonzo Ball is out for the season. I believe bringing in Patrick Beverly is like giving the homeboy his opportunity to come home, giving the fan base an opportunity to see him play at home. And it's just this is not the Dwayne Wade deal. We know it's not that.
But
But go ahead.
as the fan base, does that? I mean, we got Pat Beverly. If you a diehard Bulls fan, and you have to let me know what Taylor Made Boy said. It's the ring. What if you a diehard Bulls fan? I feel like it's like how I feel about Kevin Love. Like, okay.
Well, I think Patrick Beverly brings more to the Bulls from what I can see. I don't really know what Kevin Love's going to take to Miami, but like I said, I watch quite a bit of Bulls basketball. I don't watch it all the way through wire to wire. I'll be honest with you with that, because what the Bulls have a tendency of doing is they jump out on teams
And let them back in the game.
they're very competitive against the playoff teams, the Phillies, the Celtics, the Sixers, teams like that. They're very competitive. But what happens is the Bulls get into like let's say they have a tendency of building these pretty nice sized leads and letting teams come back. Now what I think what Patrick Beverly brings is not so much on the offensive end, and maybe not as much as he used to be on the defensive end, but I do believe he brings a little bit more of defensive toughness in the backcourt, to the point where now you got Drummond and take a little pressure off Drummond and Vucevic to protect the rim, and I don't see a team making those big comebacks on the Bulls with a player like Patrick Beverly on the team. The Bulls situation I don't think it's scoring. I don't think it's scoring. I think it comes down to shot selection and defensive intensity, effort on defense, shot selection when you're winning the game, because I'm a firm believer that the same shots you took to, like, let's say you shoot really well from 3 point land in the first half, you get up double figures or whatever. I'm the type of guy, I'm like, don't keep shooting the threes. Let's take good shots. Let's play good defense. Let's limit the team to one shot. So I think that's where Patrick Beverly comes in at on the defensive end. You know what I'm saying? Now allow the Bulls to have these like big, letting these teams just come back with these big comebacks. I mean, they'd be up like, I mean, I seen one game. I don't know. I think it was against the Pacers just before the All-Star break, a couple of days before the All-Star break, because I think the Bulls finished up with I want to say they finished up with, maybe was it the Celtics or something like that, but I could be wrong.
I
The
can't.
night before.
They
Okay.
played the Bucks.
Okay, yeah, the Bucks. I knew it was a team in green. Okay, the Bucks. So I think they played the Pacers like the night before. They have 24 points, and they let the Pacers come back and win. I mean, they were beating them on the road in Indianapolis, up 24 points, and let the Pacers come back and beat them. I don't think that happens with a guy like Patrick Beverly. I think he's mentally tough. I think he'll man up that backcourt when it comes to defense, and and then I think he'll also help out the younger guys like Kobe White, Yasumu. Just getting them a little bit tougher down towards the stretch, because I don't think scoring is not going to be the issue. It's just shot selection and defense, closing out games. So that's going to be interesting to see if they can actually get into the playoff picture with however many games they got remaining.
They 11th seed right now, so
yeah.
they
like right on the outside looking in on the play-in, right?
Yeah.
So I believe that's going to be the shot in the arm for the Bulls. That's what he brings to the Bulls, in my personal opinion, because if you do remember, they haven't played really well since Lonzo Ball left that team.
Yeah, I mean,
Lonzo Ball,
the East.
Yeah, they were number one in the East, and Lonzo Ball and Caruso were probably the best defensive backcourt in the East, most definitely. And Lonzo Ball had an ability to just get in transition, just get the ball out and allow his teammates Zach Levine, DeMar DeRozan to run the spots and get easy baskets, transition layups, and he was really good on the defensive end as well. So that's why I think Patrick Beverly's going to be a shot in the arm for the Chicago Bulls. Just just toughness. And I just think in the locker room, it's gonna be a problem if they just like, just not giving up that effort. I think the same thing would have been true with Russell Westbrook. But I just think they need Patrick Beverly's energy as opposed to Russell Westbrook. But they don't because they don't. I don't think they need the scoring that Russell Westbrook probably would have brought.
Right, and what's Russ's role in that situation? Is Russ gonna start? Russ been coming off the bench all year. I think Russ landed where he was supposed to be. It's the motivation factor. If we get Clippers Lakers, that's gonna be a plus. That's gonna be must see TV. Yeah, if Russ would have ended up on the Bulls, I would argue he would fit better on the Heat.
Yeah, I can see that too because I can see him helping the scoring punch
Yeah,
with the Heat. And
yeah.
I don't think that's the deal with the Bulls. I just don't think scoring is the problem with the Bulls. I think it's like I said, shot selection and defensive toughness. And then with Russ going to the Clippers, I just him staying in the West gives them more offense. Um, they released someone else that was
Reggie
on that.
Jackson.
Say it again.
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson and there's another guard they let go of, former Kentucky guard. Uh,
I don't know the other guy.
yeah, big time name, man. Dude was one of the fastest guys with the ball in his hand. But he ain't played in so long, he allowed you to forget him. You know what I'm saying?
Not Bledsoe.
Not Bledsoe, wasn't Bledsoe.
Oh,
Um,
John Wall.
John Wall.
Yeah,
John Wall would have been an option too going to the Bulls, but he just can't stay healthy.
yeah, they
But
Houston.
yeah, Westbrook makes sense for the Clippers because it adds to that LA rivalry, keeps them home, and now we get a chance to see them compete, get to see him compete against the Lakers, and get to see them duel it out on the floor. The whole LeBron and Westbrook matchup, and everybody's talking about the rumors between Darvin Ham having an issue with Westbrook, whatever, which I don't believe, but I think going forward, coming off this trade deadline and All Star break, those are and then also taking a look at Kyrie and Luca. Those are some of the interesting things that we have to look forward going into the end of the NBA regular season. Can't forget the Phoenix Suns. So you know, we've been saying all season that we feel a certain way about NBA basketball, the
Yeah.
way the game is played, the way the game is presented to us. But I can honestly say this is the first time in a long time that I can honestly really want to see how it unfolds, and depending on how the first and second round matchups go in the East and the West, that's depending on the matchup. That's what's going to keep my interest. I think the trade deadline and the buyout situations throughout the NBA has gained my interest. Is going to allow me an opportunity to sit back and enjoy some NBA basketball. I just hope that the remainder of the regular season and the playoffs can live up to the hype of the trade deadline and the buyout situation. That's all I ask.
Well, we gonna have to see how it play out. Cause yeah, this season just for me overall it's just kind of been a dud, and I was very locked into the season last year, but I mean the Heat was at the top of the standings, and I felt like they had a chance to get to the finals at least. So, but I was just really disappointed with the organization, how they didn't make no moves this year to try and they tried to just run that situation back, and maybe that just kind of turned my interest down on the league this year. We had Justin coming in, being it was his show, and he was running that, and we had polls coming in, we had Eberflus coming. It was just a lot of other stuff for me to pay attention to in the wake of, okay, y'all didn't really do anything, and I don't think this is gonna pay off. So my attention was elsewhere.
Yeah, and see that's the thing with me. I don't have a favorite team like yourself. You're a Heat fan. My Taylor Made boys, they Chicago Bull fans. And like I say, looking forward going into March. They do play the Heat. The Bulls and Heat do match up. I'm hoping like hell that we can figure out a way to kind of watch that game together.
We got to do
that.
Yeah,
I want to figure out a way we can kind of watch that game together and go live and so I'm looking forward to it. I think that game will be playing on March 18th. The Heat and the Bulls will match up. I talked to them. I watched the game. I watched the Super Bowl with those guys. Uh, uh, and I told them that I want to do that. So I also made a mention to you. That is, I think, a Saturday night.
Okay.
That is a Saturday night. The only thing that can pull me away from it is if my Cardinals are still in the Indiana high school athletic boys basketball state tournament, which kicks off next week, next Tuesday, I believe. We drew the Lake Central Indians. We got those guys. I think this will be our fifth year in a row. We've lost to that team 4 years in a row. They've knocked us out the tournament 4 years in a row. But hopefully we can get together on that weekend. Like I say, that's the only thing that could stop me from doing it is if my boys are victorious and we still making a run through high school state tournament. NCAA basketball, we talked about a little bit. Kind of getting off into that. Right now, Indiana is playing Michigan as we speak, I should say.
Yeah,
Indiana, Indiana's playing Michigan State.
I'll get the score for you because it just went to halftime. 35-29, Michigan State at halftime, and I had Michigan State on the money line for FanDuel. So come on, Spartans.
Yeah, and we also want to mention it's the first time they took the court since the tragic shooting in Lansing, Michigan. So it's kind of got to be kind of tough on the Hoosiers, the Indiana Hoosiers, to go in and play in that environment. You know that the city of Lansing and the campus, pretty much the whole state of Michigan, maybe. But for the Hoosiers to go into, they are playing that game in East Lansing tonight, right?
Yeah. They played. They played at Ann Arbor versus the Wolverines Saturday night, I believe.
Yeah.
And this is their first home game since the shooting happened.
Okay, so like I said, it's got to be tough on the Hoosiers to go into that atmosphere and get a win. Michigan State got some pretty good guards, man. They got a pretty decent backcourt. Those guys' names slip my mind right now, but in a blur, I've had a chance to check them out from time to time. Tom Izzo, you can never count him out. Though he's one of those coaches that his team, they always in the hunt. I mean, no matter where you rank them, at this time of the year, they're gonna be in the hunt. You know what I'm saying? So the Hoosiers taking on the Michigan State Spartans tonight. Alabama, number 1 in the country. Houston, number 2. Who's number 1?
Houston 1, Bama 2.
Okay, so Bama just lost to who did they lose to last week to drop out? Let me see.
Hold on. I know they lost midweek. They lost to not Auburn. They just beat Georgia. They lost to Tennessee.
Yeah, and I think Tennessee was playing tonight just before we got going. But the thing with college basketball, the one and done over the years, and just now you got NIL. The football schools in the state of Texas have and you can say Texas is a football state. So Baylor winning the national championship a couple years ago, year
Yeah.
before last, I believe. Uh, Texas was pretty highly ranked this season at one point in time. I don't know what their ranking is right now.
They eight
Then,
now.
yeah, Houston,
Yep.
Houston,
And they was just
hovering around.
for like 2 years ago, I think, or three.
Yeah, they were in the Final Four. Yeah, I think they were in the Final Four 2 years ago with Baylor.
Yeah.
And they lost in the semis. But the football states and the football schools with Alabama are taking over the basketball scene.
And it's crazy to kind of see that, because we kind of think of, us being Midwestern guys, we think of Big Ten probably going to be one of the best basketball conferences across the nation, and we probably like third or fourth this year. It's really been a down year for the Big Ten.
Well, you could say that, but Purdue has been hovering around number one. I think they've lost 4 games up to this point. They lost to Indiana, they lost to Rutgers,
Northwestern.
but I think they lost to Northwestern, and maybe even did they lose? I think they lost to Maryland as well. So Indiana's a traditional power from years ago, from the Bobby Knight years, and then the Coach Davis was one of the last team. Coach Mike Davis and Jerry Jeffries went to the national championship in the early 2000s, and with Coach Bobby Knight winning his last national championship in '87. One of the traditional powers that kind of making a claim to be one of the top teams in the country. Most definitely got one of the top players in the country with Trace Jackson Davis at Indiana. He's a prime example of a kid that just deciding to stay in school and develop, that might be a decent pro one day.
Well, he went to the draft combine last year, and he had plans on putting his name in the draft, but he got COVID, so he wasn't able to work out, and that kind of forced him to come back to school again this year. And now he's being touted as the player of the year. He just broke into the top 5 for scoring all time in IU history. He just passed Mike Woodson up, I think last week. So
just passed up his coach.
Yep. So, but Northwestern got a better record than IU.
Yeah, and that just go back to what you're talking about when you're talking about the Big Ten being down. Maybe not so much. I mean, maybe not the traditional teams
like Michigan State.
Michigan State and stuff like that. Now, like I say, I don't know what Michigan State sits in the standings, but with Coach Izzo, you can't knock Michigan State. When you get down to the conference tournaments, that's one coach you cannot count out.
Oh, yeah.
Northwestern, Chris Collins, doing a hell of a job. He knocked off both Purdue and Indiana in the last week, and he's got his team playing well. And just him recruiting at Northwestern, coming out of that Duke environment, I believe he's the right man for the job. It's just, because he knows the criteria that's going to take to get certain kids to go to University of Northwestern. When you talk about the educational, the curriculum that's going on at Northwestern.
I got a hot take for you. Purdue will not win the Big Ten Conference Tournament. Purdue will not make it out the first weekend of the NCAA tournament.
I feel you. I got my knocks on Purdue. This is not the best Purdue team I've seen
at all.
The best individual player that I've seen at Purdue is Glenn Robinson back a long time ago. He had a decent squad. This team is not the Etwan Moore, Robbie Hummel, Deshaun. This is not that team.
Yeah, nope.
And Jawan Johnson, I meant to say, but this is not that team. Zach Edey is also, he might end up being player of the year. I don't think his game translate to the NBA because they just don't dump it in the post like they did uh 20 10 20 years ago as much. But my biggest problem with Purdue is the guard play. And when I
That's
look at teams like Houston, Alabama,
yep.
you
Kansas
just
State, yeah,
yeah, even a team like Baylor, them guys, you just look at the physical, them guys are much more athletic, more
yep,
physically imposing.
yep.
I mean, they put so much pressure on the defense just with the ball handling and just attacking the rim. And the Purdue, their guys don't do that. If they're shooting from three, they can get you. If they shoot particularly well from three, they can get you because then it just opens up things for Edie, and they throw it down there, and he get over his left shoulder. It's a done deal.
Right.
But like you said, I really don't know, man. It's a wait and see with Purdue when it comes down to the tournament. And
And
like I said, you can't count out Tom Izzo.
and that's why I made that statement. And you a coach, all right, we shutting everybody else off. If Zach Edey come out here and get 50, we gonna tip our cap. But we know he ain't got the game to get 50.
Nah, because only a matter of time, the doubles coming from time to time. You get a dig here or there from the weak side guard. And he has to get it off quick. And I just don't think he has.
The skill
And like I
set.
said, if he gets it over, if he get it over his left shoulder, it's a done deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a done deal. He'll load down there, but I don't think he gets entrance. You could get up against a team like Houston, where they just get up and down the floor, got constant pressure on the offensive end, constant pressure on the defensive end. I just think Houston may be 20 points, 15 to 20 points better than Purdue,
Yep.
unless they can get a couple of guys in, unless you can pound it to Edie and get a couple guys in foul trouble and make it a free throw shooting contest.
And in them tournament games, if that's the strategy, okay, if Edie beat us, he beat us. But when them guards get their opportunities to make shots, it's a lot of pressure on them shots. We
Yeah.
have been ranked at the top of the top 25 all year. And here it is come down to this. It's a lot of pressure on that. No, man. That airspace closed quick.
Yeah, like I say, it just comes down to the guard play with in basketball in general, and I just think that's going to be the thing when it comes to Indiana. Whether or not their guard play can sustain 40 minutes of basketball, and depending on how good they are on defense and hitting shots on the other end. And like I said, if they're hitting threes, you can put them in a game with pretty much anybody. Matt Painter does a hell of a job, getting his team up to play games. I just think it's going to come down to matchups when it really, really comes down to it in the backcourt.
Painter,
Alabama, go ahead.
Painter was assistant coach when Glenn was there, right?
No, Painter was on the team.
Matt Painter
Matt
was.
Painter?
Yeah, I thought he was on the staff when Glenn Robinson was there.
No, hell no. Matt Painter was on the squad, baby.
Really? Okay.
Matt Painter, Quanzo Martin.
I know Quanzo, and I know Katie was
my
the
main
coach.
man, Brandon Bradley's from East Chicago as well. Andran graduated from Andran High School. Shout out to Brandon. But Brandon Bradley was on that team. He's on the coaching staff with Matt Painter right now. But yeah, Matt Painter was on the squad, baby. Matt just barely over 50 years old. So Matt was on the squad, man.
He been there like 15, 20 years though, right?
Ha, you got me on that one. I had to look into it. Matt Painter he was on the squad when Glenn played. Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah. Because I was like, I know Glenn played for Katie, but I thought Painter was assistant coach, up and coming.
You may be getting Matt Painter confused with Coach Bruce Weber. Bruce Weber was on that coaching. He was on the coaching staff. Him and I think Frank Kendrick. They were the big time recruiters and assistant coaches at Purdue at that time when Glenn played, when the big dog played. That was like in 94. So,
yeah.
Painter was on the squad, baby,
Okay.
Painter was on the squad. Yeah,
Okay.
Painter was a bully. Yeah, Painter was decent guard, man. But Glenn was the man. But Painter was serving up a few assists every now and then. He had a few big shots. Painter was on the squad. Don't you play Painter out like that, man.
Hey
Don't
man,
do it.
listen. You know
Painter,
how I fight.
Painter,
Listen, I saw
Painter.
Glenn
He
King in high
invited our
school.
boys down to a practice. I wasn't able to go, but my boys had the pleasure of going to see the Boilermakers practice before the high school basketball season kicked off. But yeah, Paint was on the squad.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, I was just trying to get my memory together because
Yeah.
like I said, I saw Glenn play in high school. Okay, so I'm kind of
Yeah.
dating myself right now, but I remember being at East Chicago, Washington, Central at Central
Yeah.
when he was playing,
Yeah.
for Roosevelt. So yeah.
Yeah. He was playing for Gary Roosevelt, but Painter was on the squad. So what's your opinion on have you had a chance to see Alabama play? We talk about the traditional football power at the top of the college basketball landscape at this
Yeah,
point in time.
I like them. I think they're the most complete team, but when they get in trouble, it's like they be out there playing like, man, I gotta improve my draft status tonight. I gotta
My
go out
turn,
there and
your
get me.
turn.
Yeah, and that's those are the games they either like the spread will be like, Bama should win this by 15, they end up winning by like 6, 7, because they be out there trying to do them. But when they play as a complete team, I think they the best team I've seen this year when they play as a
Over
complete.
Houston.
Yeah, because they longer than Houston.
Okay.
Yeah, they go probably like 6'7", 6'8", 6'10" on their front line. And Houston's big guy in the middle, he probably like 6'7".
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Alabama, man. It's tough to watch college basketball when you at practice and on Saturday morning you're getting up to go to practice or you're getting up to go to play a game. So when it comes down to the tournament, I'll be able to catch up a lot more up on it. Um, you know, just to touch on some things. And football is not totally done either.
Oh
I
yeah,
want to say this for last, but did you get a chance to see AJ McCarron playing for the St. Louis Battle Cats, Battle
the
Hawks?
Hawks. Yeah, I actually turned it on to see how it looked. And Hines Ward was the coach of the San Antonio Brahmas. So I probably watched a possession for each team, just to
Yeah,
see how it was or whatever. And I was like, AJ McCarron, remember, he came in for Andy Dalton, and didn't he win a
and
playoff
since
game?
I believe he did win, I don't know if it was with the Bengals.
He was on the Bengals. I think he won a playoff game when Andy Dalton got hurt, and I was like, man, this dude in the XFL.
I know he kind of finished the season out pretty strong with the Bengals when Andy
Yeah,
Dalton was hurt, but I don't know if he won a playoff game. Josh Gordon is on the team as well. I think he with the Seattle team or something like that. I don't know all the teams in the XFL, but I was able
it's
to,
eight.
say it again.
It's 8 of them. I just heard that on TV today because I had no
Oh,
clue.
yeah, but Josh Gordon is playing on the team. He had a touchdown pass. He caught a touchdown pass in the first weekend to kind of highlight the first weekend of XFL coming back. So I'm gonna do my best to watch a few games. I'm gonna be honest with you. But to finish up tonight,
I got a question for you too.
uh okay, go ahead with that question before I finish up.
I was in the studio last night, and my engineer Jay Hill, shout out Jay Hill, he brought up this scenario because somebody had brought it up to him. What do you do with the first pick? Do you trade Justin and get a haul back for off of the year he's coming off of, and draft Bryce Young with the number 1 overall pick, or do you and reset the clock on the rookie contract? You still gonna get picks back for Justin, You're gonna have Bryce Young on a 4-year rookie deal. You still got all that money to spend, and you still got all them draft picks. What do you do in that scenario? I know what my answer was, but I just wanted to pitch it to you.
You asking me if I'm going to trade Justin, right?
That's what I'm asking. Yeah.
I mean, the Bears have so many needs. And then if you bring in if you bring in Bryce Young, then you resetting the clock. You got all the same questions at quarterback that you had before Justin Fields.
Right.
Uh, I don't want to trade Justin. The knock on Bryce is that he's small.
Mm-hmm.
And when I listen to some of the experts, they want to compare him. He the mini Pat Mahomes. And that's why I draw the line. Because, okay, if Pat Mahomes is his ceiling, what is his floor? If you could give me an indication, which doesn't really matter, it's just an opinion. So I'm going to tell you now, I'm not trading Justin Fields because I know what Justin Fields brings to the table. More importantly, I think we understand what Justin Fields means to the locker room.
That part, that's what he said too. Yeah.
And Justin Fields is exuding a confidence that no quarterback since Vince McMahon. He's also captured the attention prematurely, I might add. In the way Justin Fields is handling himself in media, I'm going with Justin because Justin has went through what he had to go through in Chicago. So I'm gonna stick with Justin. Justin went through the Matt Nagy situation. Justin has went through this whole situation. He had to have the second coach, learning a new offense. He's taking control of this team, taking control of that offense. And to answer your question, if you bring in Bryce Young, you answering a lot. You got to answer a lot of the same questions that Justin has already answered. Okay,
Yeah.
and the durability thing when it comes down to Bryce being able to take that punishment, we know Justin took it. He's gotten hit and he's come back. We know he's tough enough. We know he's durable. But we also know Justin has some areas to develop in the short passing game. If you were able to see and hear Justin's interview, he had quite a few interviews down Radio Row during Super Bowl week. The most controversial thing Justin said was he wants to play in the dome, and they picked it apart. Okay, they picked it apart. Um, I didn't pay it any attention because I just know at this time of the year, this is rumor season. NFL
Mm-hmm.
off season is also rumor season, and they're just looking for stuff to talk about. I'm keeping Justin to answer your question because I don't know how durable Bryce Young would be at the NFL if he took some of the same shots Justin took. Um, Justin handled himself really well over Super Bowl weekend on Radio Row, and I just think he's ready. He's already back to work. If you look at social media, I don't know if he's doing it for clout, but he's already back to work. Justin is locked in. I like Justin as my quarterback because we have so many other answers. We have so many holes we need to fill.
Uh,
So I would trade that pick if I could.
that's been my stance on it all along. But just when the question was posed to me, I said a lot of what you said, but I was just like, and if you strip it all down, Justin has 2 years of NFL experience. He's been in those gunfights for 2 years. Yes, you can say Bryce Young may be a more accurate passer, But if I got to compare that, then I got to go back to Justin at Ohio State when he had similar weapons to play with. And Justin was a hell of a passer when he had Olave and Garrett Wilson and all these dudes he was throwing it to. I haven't seen Bryce Young do this at the NFL level. Yes, he won the national championship. Yes, he won the Heisman Trophy. Yes, he played
Did he
at
win a
Bama.
national championship? I don't know if he won a national championship. I know he won Heisman.
I thought he won it his first year. Didn't they win it
I'm not
last?
sure.
I thought they won
I'm
it.
not sure about that.
Who won it
You might
last
want to
year?
check it.
No, Georgia went back to back, right? No, you
Yeah,
right.
Georgia went back to back.
Yeah, okay. Heisman, and he been in the national championship game, and he plays in the SEC. Got it. That does not always translate to the NFL level. I've seen
He's what, 5'10"? He's under 200 pounds, right?
5'10", 190, I believe, is what they got him listed as.
I think that's gonna be the question with Bryce Young. I'm gonna be honest with you. When the NFL Combine comes up, which is shortly, real soon, that was one of the things I want to touch on. So this is a perfect segue. The NFL Combine is coming up pretty soon. So when the Combine rolls around and they get all the measurables and the speeds and all this stuff down, I will not be surprised if Bryce Young stock goes down slightly because of his measurables and maybe even his speed. That's all I can say. He can go out there and throw the hell out the ball, which I do think he may do. But when you look at Bryce Young's game, I can get the Patrick Mahomes comparison because he makes things happen. He can make, he can just make things happen. He can extend plays. He did it at Alabama. But you're talking about taking the hits and the durability. And this season, even at Alabama, he was banged up a little bit.
Yeah, because he missed the 2 games before the game of the year.
So
Batman, Tennessee, yeah.
So some of them questions probably already been answered about Bryce Young. And going into the combine, we'll have more to see. And the rumors will just continue to build. And we'll see how it goes, man. Hey, before we out, I sent you that, and shout out to Cutter, man. I wish I would have brought Cutter up. I wish I would have brought this up earlier. But Cutter finally responded to that trailer I sent out. The Nike movie that's being made about
Air.
Air. And Cutter had an interesting question. So did the Taylor Made Boys. How Viola Davis is in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chris Tucker's in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Yeah.
Okay. But who's playing Mike?
I don't think Mike really in it. I don't think Mike
That's the thing. Cutter and Chris Strang of the TaylorMade Boys had a hell of a question. How the hell you gonna make a movie about Air and the main character is Michael Jordan? Who the hell is gonna play Mike?
Hey, that's just another feather in his cap. Why he to go? He ain't even got to be in the movie.
And they're gonna make money.
Hey, he just turned 60, still as big as he ever been. Shoes still flying off the shelf. Still the greatest basketball player I've ever seen in my life.
You just got me fired up, and the sad part about it is it's time to go. So I get excited when we go talking about Mike, but a happy 60th birthday, Mike, if you just be so kind to view this.
All the way to the end, Mike.
Yeah. But hey, that's it. I gotta get going. You gotta get going. We're gonna build this thing, man. Shout out to Cutter. Shout out to the Taylor Made boys, my man Dwayne Span, uh, my man Lee Buck, and my man the East Chicago Cardinal sharpshooter Christopher Striblin. Uh, we'll be back at you, man. Get up with us on that YouTube page, WTG1 podcast. Watch the game podcast is on YouTube. Uh, we out.
And we gone. Y'all be easy.